That's right. A little re today. The salt must flow. Indeed, Salty Cracker comes back again. As Caleb represents it, he's our most popular guest, more views than celebrities, comedians, presidential candidates. Salty Cracker. Of course, he's known mostly as there it is, look at that. It is. He's known in most circles as a doting husband of Mrs. Salty, the Salt Queen, so to speak. Though I've never really heard him identified as the Salt King, which is interesting. He must be the consort Salt King, or just consult Salty. He can be found at saltmustflow.com, also on Rumble, Salty Cracker, Salty Cracker 9 on X, and Rumble, Salty Cracker. So let's get right to it. Our laws, as it pertains to substances, are draconian and bizarre. The psychopaths start this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous. I'm a doctor, for sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that? I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want to help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say. I'm excited to bring you a new product, a new supplement, Fatty. I take it. I make Susan take it. My whole family takes it. This comes out of, believe it or not, dolphin research. The Navy maintains a fleet of dolphins, and a brilliant veterinarian recognized that these dolphins sometimes developed a syndrome identical to our Alzheimer's disease. Those dolphins were deficient in a particular fatty acid. She replaced the fatty acid, and they didn't get the Alzheimer's. Humans have the same issue. And we are more deficient in this particular fatty acid than ever before. And a simple replacement of this fatty acid called C15 will help us prevent these syndromes. It's published in a recent journal called Metabolites. It's a new nutritional C15, pentadecanoic acid it's called. The deficiency that we are developing for C15 creates something called the cellular fragility syndrome. This is the first nutritional deficiency syndrome to be discovered in 75 years and may be affecting us in many ways, and as many as 1 in 3 of us. This is an important breakthrough. Take advantage of it. Go to fatty15.com/Dr. Drew to receive 15% off a 90-day starter kit subscription, or use code Dr. Drew at checkout for that 15% off, or just go to our website, drdrew.com/fatty15. I'm telling you, the salt must flow. It must flow. Bring in Salty Cracker, if you will.
Hey,
hello, my
Dr.
friend. How you been?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. So a lot, you might have been put on notice that a lot happened in the world. There's a lot of things changing. I'd be curious to sort of get your 30,000-foot view on the world such as it is, and it's changed a lot in a very short period of time. How are you feeling about it?
Well, there's this weird world that we live in where in your physical reality, you're probably going to get burned alive if you're in California because we can't figure out how to put water in fire hydrants. But then on the grand scale, I'm watching Donald Trump. He paying dividends and he's only been in there like 3 days. And so it's this weird dichotomy of trying to make it through clown world.
So it is indeed clown world. I'll tell you something that's on my mind and bothering me. The thing that has been most disturbing to me about the last 8 years, particularly the last 4, and I think we kind of talked about this last time, but it becomes increasingly clear as time goes on, that people have been in an hysterical, delusional state. Okay, and there's still remnants of it going around. He waved his arm. He waved his arm the way the Nazi waved his arm. Nazis waved their arms. He must be a Nazi. That's delusionality. That is delusionality, okay? And you can see it more clearly now because it's so bizarre when they try to foist that on the public. So I have a follow-on to that in terms of my concerns about the right and their delusionality. But first, I want you to talk about how people wave their hand.
You better be careful, apparently. Waving your hand is a very dangerous thing to be doing because you might accidentally Hitler. And the left has gone so apoplectic with this. On one hand, it's glorious. On one hand, it's frightening. But at the end of the day, it's a continued manipulation of a large mass of people. This is a group of people out there who are constantly looking for some sort of perceived boogeyman when you've got to stop looking for Nazis when you've got poop on your sidewalk in San Francisco. You guys don't have water in your fire hydrants and you're busy looking for Nazis. These people have been made insane.
Did you see that senator that was attacking some appointee for not being more concerned about how Elon Musk is waving his hands in the air? And I thought to myself, hey, Mr. Senator, there's Taylor Swift with her Nazi salute. Hey, Mr. Senator, are you aware that your beloved Ukraine did not allow Jews to be citizens until 1991? Are you aware of that, Mr. I'm so concerned about anti-Semitism? Are you concerned about the Ukrainian history and the Holodomor? Do you have any knowledge about it, asshole? You know what I mean? Instead of, you should be worried about how people wave their arm. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
And I have a test for you.
Oh, no. You got a situation where in this country, and I imagine other places as well, but I'm hyper-focused on this place. I don't care about the rest of the planet. But we've got a situation where the mainstream media press, the legacy media, and these dipshits in Congress like AOC, she's doing the same exact thing. So these people are not trying to have a legitimate conversation. They don't care about Nazis. They're not looking for Nazis. They are revving up their bank accounts by screaming Elon Musk is a Nazi, and they're revving up their base. They're revving up these morons on TikTok and on X in their comment section, and they're getting them to believe that these people are resistance fighters and they're standing up to Elon Musk. And look, he put his hand up just like that, and he's definitely a Nazi. So give me money and I will fight this man. And so these people like AOC and the like of them and MSNBC and these people who are screaming that Elon Musk is a Nazi, they are willfully manipulating their audience, driving these people deeper into psychosis. Also, they can get more money, more power, and it's going to result in real world violence. By the way, these people that are thinking everybody's a Nazi are going to get physically violent. And they're already on the social media platforms talking about how they can talk about being violent using secret codes like my cool new winter boots or something like this is the brand new code for TikTok. So they can talk about killing billionaires because that's what they're worried about right now. Instead, the people who are really going to get you killed are the people who are feeding you this nonsense and the people who are running your municipalities into the ground. And you guys don't have water in the fire hydrants and entire cities go up in flames. Meanwhile, you guys are concerned about Elon Musk and how he waves.
Did you see that interview with that poor woman? She's an attorney that ran up to Newsom and said, "Governor Newsom, why weren't there water in the fire hydrants? I'll put it in the fire hydrant. I'll put it there. Will you put it there?" She was so desperate. She was out of her mind. As though fire hydrants were like coffee machines where you put water in and they spills back out. It was very odd. I felt so bad for her because she was so desperate. And he's like, "I'm on the phone with the president." Well, I actually don't have cell service, but anyway. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that dude's a psychopath or a sociopath, probably a little bit of both. Just he's so used to lying to normies. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the phone right now," and get away from me, pleb. You can see a tonal shift in him, by the way, once he recognizes there's a camera on him. Because at first he's like, "I'm on the phone with the," and then he sees the camera. He goes,
"Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. I got to pretend to be a human."
Go from lizard to human. So I have a little test for you. Can you zoom back on me a little bit, Caleb, just a little bit? Can you tell the difference between this, "My heart goes out to you," and this, "Sieg"? Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure there is a difference, Salty Cracker. I think they're the exact same thing. How pathetic. How pathetic. have we become as a country, as a media landscape that is so pathetic? They should be embarrassed and shamed completely. Of course, it's nothing to do with it. By the way, you're mind reading people at the same time. I know it was a secret salute. You just don't appreciate that it was secret. You hear how delusional that is? That is effing pathetic.
Yeah, there's a clip of Tim Walz. And I just reposted that, Caleb. If you want to pull it up it's on my profile, but it's the same exact movement. My heart. Thank you so much. My heart goes out to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me. And somehow it's been translated to, "I'll kill you, Jews. I'll kill you. Come in here. I'm a secret Elon Musk Nazi." These people, they want to be made crazy by it. These people who are
for the record. I am Jewish, Ukrainian. My family was chased out in the Holodomor, barely made it over here. Many were left behind, did not fare so well. So don't lecture us. This patronizing BS, stop it. Stop it. It's beneath you, it's beneath us.
You've got Disney fired Gina Carano for making a statement about the vaccine and the Jewish star. Right, and Disney came out and they said, "Oh my God, this is it! I can't believe that you would denigrate or you would de-emphasize the Holocaust." This is, your guys on your side are screaming that Elon Musk saying, "My heart goes out to you," is secret code that he's a Nazi, but there's not any kickback from people who are saying that type of stuff. AOC has gone on an absolute stupid tirade on all of her social media platforms, and she's doubling down. And she keeps telling everybody that I don't rock with anybody who rocks with Elon Musk. He's a Nazi. He did it twice. Look at him. It's with clear emphasis. And not a single institution is coming out saying you're belittling, world atrocities. They're allowed to get away with this.
That's exactly right. You are minimizing the horrors. And by the way, the horrors done to our generations, it's not limited to Germany. Like I said, a whole shit ton went down in Ukraine, thank you to Stalin. And there have been multiple horrors perpetrated upon people of Jewish descent. There just have been. And the most recent circumstance in the 20th century just is the crowning glory of horrific, how far humans can go in the direction of horror. Let's make no mistake about it. And to try to co-opt that history as yours when you have no relationship to it, because you can call out mind, you can delusionally read somebody's mind for waving their hand a certain way, is so diminishing to our history. I choke on it. It's disgusting. For some reason, that senator going at that appointee really got to me, because I knew he didn't know the history and he didn't give a damn.
Oh yeah, no, they don't care. It's all about what can I drain from this politically right now, and nobody that is falling for this is at all concerned with history or any type of legitimacy of right. Anything. They just want they want to be they want to believe that they're resistance fighters, and there's neo-Nazis all over the place, and there's racist white supremacists meeting to go get everybody who's left. And there's this attack on gay people and trans people, and Elon Musk is a hidden Nazi, and they want to believe this reality. These people who voted for Kamala Harris, these people who are on TikTok, and you can see they're mentally insane. It's physically manifesting in these people. You could see it. They've got all types of piercings through their face, and they're shaving their head on purpose, and they're purposely making themselves, or maybe the physical manifestation of their inner anger is making them look ugly, and they're completely unstable. And they're the ones who are right now foaming at the mouth, screaming. Everybody who's on X is now supporting a literal neo-Nazi, and they love it. They love this.
And to be fair, I absolutely defend their right to do so, categorically defend their right to do so. But let's not be other than firm in response to it. They are entitled to go say everything they want, but our response needs to be firm and deliberate and call it out.
Yeah, I want to know who's crazy, Drew. Right? You idiots keep yelling and foaming at the mouth and pissing yourself on all of your social media platforms. Please reinstate TikTok. I want to know who these crazy fuckers are so I can be far, far away from them.
And are you getting any sort of attack? Well, before we get to that, let me just, I'm going to follow up on what Caleb just put on the screen. He put up Benjamin Netanyahu's response to this craziness. He quoted I think it's a Musk tweet or an X below, and you can't really read this. It's fair distance from me, but it's essentially saying Musk is categorically nothing other than supportive of Israel, and now he's going to be called a Zionist, of course, which is the next phase of this. So you can't win. And that to me, the whole Zionist thing is such an odd thing to me. Zionism was always this sect. It was like a peripheral thing. Now anybody that supports Israel is a Zionist. That's just weird. I don't know what the world. I'm through the looking glass all the time. But again, you need to be firm. Need to be firm. As I was asking, are you getting attacked anywhere? Pushback?
Well, you mean on the stuff that I'm saying? Because that's constant.
Yeah. I mean, what is the nature of it? I mean, how's it changing? Is it different? Is it more intense? Like, how's it going?
It's all the same nonsense. I'm actually a little bit upset because it's usually just random people in the comments section. They're always flipping out, but I never get any of these hit pieces that the rest of you guys get from Washington Post. From like I want to be bro. How come I never get accused of being by NPR?
You know why? Because you never talk about vaccines or alternative treatments for COVID, because that's where the YouTube thing just cancels you immediately, and then people pick up on that and come after you.
Yeah. I saw you talking to YouTube on X, and their YouTube sitting there going, "Well, we reinstated his videos." I'm like, "You reinstate." But you got rid of them in the first place. There's some idiot intern with purple hair and a whole bunch of metal in their face in Silicon Valley saying Dr. Drew doesn't know what he's talking about when Dr. Drew's got a track record of being correct. You've got a track record of being mentally ill. Maybe you shut the hell up, YouTube.
Now, to be fair, I'm gonna push back and say I don't mind purple hair. I don't mind little stuff in the face or clip wherever else in your body you want to put it.
Called a piercing.
That's all good for me. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's the things that come out of your mouth that bother me, not how you look.
Well,
not you, these other people.
Yeah, usually that's true, but I'm going off of the whole rainforest thing. You walk through the rainforest and you see a neon green frog, that thing will fucking kill you. Same thing with these stupid idiots in San Francisco. You got neon green hair in San Francisco. I'm going to risk being wrong. I'm just going to stay the hell away from you.
You should never be in security or intelligence because you should never profile people. Don't ever do that. It's not appropriate. How dare you? What do you expect to learn from profiling people?
I've learned a lot from profiling these weirdos, Drew. And I get you. I've been wrong. There's some people in the audience. They're like, hey, I got a nose ring. And I'm willing to throw that baby out with the bathwater, though. For now. We'll see how it turns out.
So I see. You're willing. But I'm sure, I mean, you must get as many people that look pierced up as elderly Asian females attacking you, right? I mean, how can you possibly profile?
Yeah, my grandma's got a tongue piercing. No. It's pretty consistent.
Okay. Caleb, where do we stand with YouTube these days? Can we talk about that? Or I'm anxious to be in there. I'm anxious to do their bidding. I'm anxious to be a team player with the team YouTube. For the record,
things are being developed behind the scenes right now. We're trying to make things better, not just for us, but for everybody on the platform. There's a door that has been opened, and we want to see what's behind that door. So we haven't hated YouTube this whole time. We've always wanted to just be like, hey guys, do you realize you're screwing things up over here? Like, do you realize this is obviously broken when you have a person who is not a physician telling 3 physicians on screen, you're wrong? Like, can you guys just put these 2 facts together and realize something's up here when we show all this misinformation that's still there, still monetized, and yet you're taking down Dr. Drew? and threatening us all the time.
Caleb-
and it really kind of
Caleb
takes
is
Elon
doing-
Musk speaking up and CCing the CEO of Google being like, hey, dude, what's happening here? You're banning Dr. Drew for the 6th time? So I have high hopes
is
for
doing
us
God's work.
making some changes here.
He is doing God's work, but I've never heard such cryptic messaging as whatever it was he just said about opening a door. And I'm fearful of the paranoid reactions we're going to get online.
Yeah, I don't want to say more than that. But also praise Rumble and praise
for the
X
record.
for
I
defending us.
harbor no. Listen. Mine's, I don't know how you feel, Mr. Cracker, but or is it? By the way, is it Consort Cracker or because I've only known this as the Queen Salty, Queen Cracker Salt, whatever the Queen's name is, but I've never heard the King of Salt.
I'll be the
consort of salt.
Yeah,
Consort.
We'll go with
consult.
Yeah,
consult. I like that.
I'm not the whole, I'm not very comfortable with the Salt King stuff. It just seems I'll be Salt Kang. Let's do that. Let's go in that direction.
You're getting into cultural appropriation. I'll be very careful. So I actually harbor no ill towards YouTube or anybody else, provided that I just want everyone who's made a mistake to go, you know what? Maybe we overreacted. Maybe we went too far with these things. Apology doesn't have to be a rigorous apology. Just we're going to correct it. And I hold that to be true of everybody. Everybody who's starting to wake up and go, wow, I was really kind of harsh to people, and I attacked you or Salty or whatever. And I was in a state at the time, and I'll have to look at myself, because the people that got themselves in those states, who think they would be the Nazi killers in 1939, I keep saying this over and over again, they in fact would be the prison guards in 1939. That's what they've shown themselves. If you reported neighbors for having barbecues, if you told somebody to mask up between bites, that is irrational, insane behavior, and you were hypnotized, and you were part of the hysteria, and you are prone to that. You need to know that about yourself, apologize, and take corrective action.
Yeah, and I think that the only way that we're going to get there is if there is some sort of full acknowledgement that these are information weapon systems. A few years ago, you had every single one of these people from these institutions, Google, Apple, Oracle, Facebook, Twitter 1.0, they all sat there in Congress. They all told everybody that they weren't manipulating the algorithm, that they weren't trying to stifle political views. And not a single one of those people have been held accountable for their perjury, considering that's completely erroneous. There's no aspect of that is true. And this has all been laid out in court cases. There's nobody even saying that at this point. And so these people need to be held accountable. And I wonder if that's kind of why they're all trying to rub up against Trump right now, because they don't want to be held. It would be very easy to hold these places accountable. The problem is that they've got more power in Silicon Valley than Washington, D.C. has power to regulate them at this point. But we're going to continue seeing institutions like YouTube. Again, they'll leave the Maddow. The Maddow clip is still up. The Maddow clip is still running ads right now, where she told everybody that this thing's 100% safe, it's 100% effective, and if you take it, you won't get sick and you won't spread it. You deviate from that with correct information, and to this day in 2025, they will still give Dr. Drew a strike. That's a big problem.
I feel Caleb out there wanting to keep his campaign going. Caleb, there it is. Do you want to comment on what Salty just said?
Yes, I wonder if, now that the Biden administration is out, that the threat that's been in their side is also out, and that they may want to correct some bad actions they've been taking. Because if you notice, X was the leader. Rumble, of course, was actually the leader. Then X came along. Now Facebook is, paying tribute. Amazon is paying tribute. Microsoft is paying tribute. And then you had the CEO of Google also up there, right behind Trump up there. That is something that would not have happened 4 to 8 years ago. That never would have happened. And I just wonder if they're, how it's like, it seemed like a lot of, during COVID, remember how a lot of companies, they just said, well, we defer to the CDC. It's not us forcing you to get vaccinated. We're just following the law, and our lawyers are making us do it. maybe around the same, in that same mindset of, okay, yeah, you guys should have stood up and been a bit braver, but in a corporation, maybe this is their out. Maybe they've been wanting to get out of this craziness for a while, and maybe this is their way of I don't know, maybe I just have too high of hopes from my fellow human being, but that's kind of the stance I'm going with as we're communicating with YouTube, trying to fix this.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the question, though, becomes, Salty, are they true believers? Because that culture at YouTube is pretty wrapped up in some progressive ideas and have been true. It'd be hard for them, I would think, to admit their excesses.
No, that's a good point. They have for probably a decade plus only hired the people who used the college woke terms, and so they are probably, again, this is why Elon Musk had to fire 80% of X. Fired 80%, like the first 48 hours. You got a clean house, and YouTube's not interested in that's Elon Musk. Other than being a Nazi, is to fire 80% of a staff and keep the place up and running is a incredible feat, and YouTube's not interested in doing that. So, I don't know. I just know that they are. In 2025, what was the strike? You were talking about vaccines. They gave you a strike for talking about vaccines. Still, like, I don't know. I don't even understand what the rules
yes,
are.
The answer is yes. We were talking about. I talked to a physician who. What was Kelly saying, kid? Do you remember? She didn't like the fact that they were called vaccines. She just is very. I don't remember exactly what her point was. I remember I talked to an attorney also.
About people under 50 getting sick from the
Oh,
vaccine.
we probably said that people get
Young
myocarditis. That the mandates
Considering
are only harming young people. They're not. They didn't need it. That's right. They didn't need it.
Is that at the real tragedy with this, Drew, is that the vast majority of the people who've been injured are young, healthy people who were under the age of 50, who had fundamentally zero risk from COVID itself. They all got COVID. 96%, 98% of the population has documented and well known that they had COVID, okay? These are people who would have done fine if they just...
That's it. And we got dinged. I was talking to an attorney who was representing an injured patient.
Actually, you were talking to the EMT who had a troll army. So
was that what that was?
Yeah, and then
I thought they canceled
probably
the lawyer.
complained to YouTube.
No, but they canceled the lawyer thing where he said 500,000 people have died of these vaccines. And I was like, I don't know. But in any event, that's it. He said that, and that was enough to cancel the page. And that was a good attorney, representing an injured patient. There it is. Well, let's not play it. I don't want to risk getting, there it is, $500,000. I don't want to risk getting taken down again for that one. But the interesting thing to me, we're going to have to take a little break here in a second. You mentioned the way they've been hiring up at Google. The same thing is true out here in Hollywood, where people were in these bubbles where they were supporting each other's point of view until their house is burned down. There has been a massive shift out here that I keep hearing about on a daily basis, where people are, what the hell? What have we? What? They're just waking up to the fact that they've put people in positions of authority who do not govern. They do anything but govern. And they're waking up to it. And I'm wondering if something's going to happen up north here in California to wake that group up. Then things will really change.
Yeah, I hope so. I think, I mean, what bigger wake-up call do you need than, I know I keep coming back to this, and people, maybe if you're not in this area, but there was no water in the fire hydrants. And then they lied about it. And then they called the people who were talking about no water in the fire hydrants, they called them conspiracy theorists. They tried to shut it down because not only is it incredibly embarrassing and dangerous because you killed a bunch of people with this nonsense, but it wakes people up. It shakes them out of their woke coma. You idiots. This entire fire department was running. They were at every single Pride parade. They were doing interviews telling you about this fire chief's sexual orientation. I don't care about your sexual orientation. You're more focused on promoting this person's genitals than you are making sure that there's pressure and water in the fucking hydrants. This place went up in flames like this, and you had 21 firefighters weeks before at a city council meeting telling everybody exactly what was going to happen. And nobody's been arrested for this, Drew. Nobody's even resigned. One chick got fired because she attacked the diversity mayor. But people should be arrested. This is gross negligence, and it costs people their lives and billions of dollars.
These elected officials have qualified immunity. They don't have to worry about it. They just go right on to the next thing.
Anymore. No, they said Trump doesn't have immunity. They said the president doesn't have immunity. So we're not playing this game. You said if Trump doesn't have immunity, that only the local mayor has immunity? No. I reject that, Drew. Let's change some rules.
Well, I'm all for that, because I don't think until they got out from under that veil of protection, that they're not going to care about the consequences of what they're doing unless they too suffer the consequences of it. Yeah, and by the way, I think it was Bill Maher that pointed out it wasn't just that the fire hydrants were empty. A lot of them had been stolen for scrap. They didn't exist, and no one bothered to replace them. So let's take a little break. On that note, we're here with Salty Cracker. Let me give you all the places you can find him. I believe it's Salty Cracker 9 on X. It is Rumble, Salty Cracker, saltmustflow.com, and just Salty Cracker on Rumble again. So check them all out in all those places. And he, of course, one of our favorite guests. We'll be right back with more Flowing Salt after this. The Wellness Company knows that taking charge of your family's healthcare is a top priority, and being rationally ready, and who knows what the future will hold for us. Now TWC has a service to cover your family's medical needs, including and especially prevention. For just $100 a month, the One Wellness Elite membership includes 2 free medical-grade nutraceuticals per month, free prescriptions for over 800 of the most common medications, access to concierge telemedicine, available at a moment's notice, and a 15% discount on all supplements and the emergency kits. 15% off the emergency kits. That's quite a saving. So if you're spending $100 or more on supplements and meds every month, this plan will already save you money. If you sign up for a year, you'll save $200. And when you use the link, drdrew.com/CWC, you'll get 10% off the first payment to the One Wellness Elite membership. Check out One Wellness at drdrew.com/TWC and get 10% off your first payment. drdrew.com/TWC. It's all there.
Smell is sexy. Or sushi. Or Dr. Drupinski.
What?
Well, as you know, Susan and I just became grandparents for the first time. We have the baby picture in there. And let me tell you, our Paleo Valley habits. There I am with the baby and my son. We're thrilled. And the Paleo Valley supplements, the beef sticks and the bone. I've been drinking the bone broth like crazy lately. 30 hours of labor to produce this young lady. And we drank the grass-fed and finished bone broth in our coffee, which we drank a lot of. We snacked on the high-protein, nutrient-dense beef and venison beef sticks. And if you're interested, go to drdrew.com/Paleo Valley for 15% off your first order and 20% off when you subscribe. And I want to point out that if you can't remember the last time you slept all night, or you didn't feel stressed during the day, or you might want to look into some possible ways to go about enhancing your sleep. CBD from CB Distillery. People can't stop raving about their natural solutions for sleep and stress. Check out some of their 48,000 five-star reviews saying things like, the best sleep I've gotten in years, and I wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go. And it is not just sleep. They have plant-based solutions to help with stress, mood, focus, even pain after exercise, made with high-quality, clean ingredients. There are a lot of CBD products out there, but CB Distillery is well known. I've known them for a long time. They've been committed to quality that entire time. They have over 2 million satisfied customers and over 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're still struggling with sleep, stress, or other health issues of a low-grade nature, maybe it is time to try something different. CBD from CB Distillery. And we have a 20% discount when you get started at cbdistillery.com and use the code DREW for 20% off. That is cbdistillery.com, code DREW, cbdistillery.com. All right, let's get Salty Cracker back in here and continue our conversation.
Code blue, code Drew.
I said code blue?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I want people to remember that code.
Perfect. Code blue. Caleb's got to move me over here. So, Mr. Cracker, One of the things I'm worried about now, I was trying to get to this point during our first part of our conversation here. So what has disturbed me, as I said, was this delusional thinking, delusionality and hysteria. It really is disturbing. It's how mass formation gets going. It's sort of the underpinning of mass formation. It's how true believers get swept into their hypnotic trance. They become hysterical. Clearly, people on one side of the aisle are having difficulty breaking free of their delusions. That's what we were talking about with how humans wave their hand in the air and and reading their minds delusionally about the content of what that means. But my fear is that we're going to see something similar on the right. So see, for me, my concern is excess. The excess in this country, built off hysteria and delusionality, is so pervasive. It's so spectacular. I think it's been simmering on the right under the sort of umbrella of paranoia. It's been like a lot of conspiracy theory and this kind of thing. And it's sort of breaking into the mainstream with this enthusiasm that President Trump is sweeping in with. And my fear is some delusionality is going to creep in there too. And I'm seeing it start to happen on the health and food front. And I'm kind of worried about it. I think one thing we don't want to do is do the same thing.
Well, my concern is that I'm concerned that people think that this is going to fix everything, that Donald Trump is just going to be able to take care of everything and everything's going to be great now. All the problems, all the ills are going to be fixed. I don't think that's true at all. But what are you concerned about with what do you mean with the food aspect?
You know, all right, let me be perfectly honest. I've met Kaylee Means, and which I forget their name, which the sister and the brother. I've met them both, and I've interviewed the brother. And I was very impressed with him, and he had some really good points, and I think he's moving an important agenda forward. And then I see people sort of starting to attack him, and where'd he come from, and who is this guy? What's he up to? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, if you really want to know, let's sit him down for an interview and let's ask him. Let's not get spun into hysteria about him. That already has a hysterical, it may not get all the way there, but it has a hysterical quality to it. To raise issues, fine. Let's find out, where did he come from? What is he motivated? Looks a little suspicious. We're concerned about it. Ask him. Let people explain themselves. Part of the disturbing part about delusions are that people were not given the opportunity to respond or defend themselves. They're just Nazis. That's it. I can read your mind. I know you are. Then that is not okay.
Yeah. So are you talking kind of like because I've seen this on some other shows where people are talking about this rising, like a woke right, where people are, if you're not 100%.
That's a subdivision.
Subdivision.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a subcategory. That's another category. I'm just seeing it pop up here and there. It's nowhere near as intense and pervasive because the media isn't promoting it, but alternative media is a little bit. And to be fair, this is becoming a more powerful media landscape. And yet it doesn't seem a landscape because it's so fragmented. It doesn't seem to be able to create kind of delusions that the mainstream media is very capable of doing.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think the weaponization of it is as focused as it is when it comes to legacy media and mainstream media press, for sure. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, I agree. But it's flying around, and I just want us all, I don't know, I just don't want to see people screw this up by being as excessive and emotional and hysterical as other sides have been. And as you said, you were explaining to me in the last half hour that it's a kind of a money grab, that you feel it's motivated as a way of fundraising or something, which is something I've never really thought of before.
Yeah, so right now AOC is getting a lot of clicks and a lot of views, and as she doubles down on stupidity, and there's no way that she thinks that Elon Musk is a Nazi. There's just no. Listen, a lot of people, and I'm guilty of.
Careful, careful, Salty. I think these people do believe these things. That's why I call it delusions. But part of a delusion is a false belief. and that they can't be talked out of. That's a delusion. And I really think that they may deny it one day because they couldn't believe they could have a delusional belief, but I think this is delusion. I really do.
That frightens the hell out of me, Drew.
Yes, it should.
My gut revolts thinking that these people are legitimately buying. So maybe my brain is trying to save me. And it just seems that
listen, I first came upon this about 8 years ago. I had a friend standing in my kitchen. He says to me, I think I'm going to organize and we're going to go kill some Nazis. And I went, what are you talking about? And he goes, why would that be wrong? I'm just going to go kill Nazis. I know who the Nazis are and we should be killing them. And I was like, if you are serious, if we are there, we're fucked. If that's actually, and he was absolutely serious, defended it, was not in any way hyperbolic. It's just, no, this is the right thing to do. Why would you question me? It is what we need to do. And I thought, oh my God, that was 8 years ago. And things have gotten a lot worse since. So, and when you really study mass formation, what you find is people are true believers. There's a book called The True Believer. I suggest you read it. There's a certain profile of the people that succumb to this stuff. And once they believe it, they believe it. Now, whether or not they stay with it and what it takes to break them of the delusion, usually takes medication, but whatever. I don't know what it's going to take.
Lobotomy. So if that's the case, the situation is still, it's the way that our society is operating. Even if AOC is a true believer, she is monetarily incentivized to double down, triple down, quadruple down. She is getting all the attention that she wants and more. And a percentage of that will trickle down to her. Again, you got a multi-million-dollar public servant socialist selling Eat the Rich shirts. So she'll sell more of those and she'll get more political contributions and she will continue to grow her ill-gotten power. And so she and the rest of these lunatics are incentivized to continue prolonging this mass formation psychosis. And they will.
Yes, they're incentivized. I agree. I agree on both fronts. They're incentivized and they will. You've also been talking lately a bit about immigration and that whole situation. What's on your radar?
I see that's another. It's the same thing. It's always this manipulation of linguistics with these cultural Marxists on the other side. Elon Musk is a Nazi, and Donald Trump is going to round up your immigrant mom. That's not what's happening. There is a clear legal distinction between an illegal alien and a legal migrant. And they are blurring this because they get more money, more power, more sales by scaring the shit out of these crazy people. And scaring crazy people is going to make them violent. You've already seen this. These hotbeds of these areas that want to go hunt Nazis, perceived Nazis all over the place. You've got a banner of rainbow flags all over the place and fecal matter on the ground. Those places are insane. Nobody is setting up shop. You've got everybody leaving those areas because those people are a concentrated group of mentally ill goofballs, weaponized, again, by this hysteria that these people are pushing. Donald Trump was elected to enforce our border. We are going after illegal alien. First of all, we're going after illegal alien criminals first. We've even separated it into that category. You got to commit a third crime to get kicked out of this place at this point. And they're still kicking back. Right. Idiots keep kicking back, by the way, because normal Americans are watching you stand up and try to protect criminals, like violent rapist, criminal illegal aliens. And this will backfire bigly.
Oh, really? Tell me about that.
Well, they've already lost. They 4 years ago, they had all of the media capital in the world to drape Trump as a Nazi, drape Trump's followers as a Nazi. Everybody was afraid to support this man. People were afraid to be Trump's lawyers. People were afraid to go to Trump rallies. People were afraid to perform at Trump rallies. People disassociated with the man out of fear and retribution from the legacy media. Well, that shit's been busted. And now you got people who have called Donald Trump a racist Nazi and shot an effigy of him in a rap video singing at his inauguration. We have broken the bulwark of this. And you are going to see more and more and more normal people snapping out of this haze. A lot of politically agnostic individuals, people who want to just skate through life without getting involved in politics, are starting to recognize you don't have a choice. It's at your door. Your cities are burning down because they're more focused on genitalia than water. Your crime is through the roof. While they tell you crime is down, you know full well that crime is through the roof. Every house on my block now has multiple cameras all the way around it. All the way around. You used to be able to drive through a bad neighborhood and go, it's probably a bad neighborhood because there's bars on every window. Well, the new bars are the cameras all over the place. And they've turned every place into a shithole in these Democrat-run places like the Bay Area. And so normies are watching this. This is how I'm absolutely convinced. This was a rigged election. And Donald Trump still won. He had 99% negative press from the legacy media. Still won. They had the intelligence community, retired intelligence community attacking this dude. He still won. A rigged election, Dr. Drew, and we still overcame it. That's because people are waking up and you can try to gaslight people as much as you want. You can say all the stupid propaganda that you want. But when you have to buy cameras for your house, when your car is constantly broken into, when the groceries are $500 every other day, there ain't no amount of propaganda that's going to overcome any of that. And I think we're seeing kind of the fruits of our labor.
Burns down.
Yeah.
When your house burns down, that's the one that seems to get everyone's attention remarkably. Do you have any comments about the Episcopal bishop who scolded the new administration in the inauguration ceremonies?
Yeah, it's the you take a political activist pretending to be a bishop and espouses their political sermon, and then gets to play victim when people say, "Hey, what are you doing with the political sermon?" This notion that Jesus would have opened up the borders and Jesus would have been fine with criminals, and Jesus wants you to again protect the LGBTQ community. It's still meant to reinforce this idea that these are all places that are under attack. Your legal immigrant communities are not under attack. Nobody's rounding up gay people. We just want enforced borders, which any sane place wants, and we don't want people of any sexual orientation talking to small children about sex behind parents' back. Whether you're gay, whether you're straight, we got a problem with that. And the fact that this community perceives themselves to be solely targeted when we don't want adults talking to people's kids about sex, I think you need to look inward with your community if you feel targeted or isolated with that type of stuff. Don't come at me. Don't lecture me. I'm not taking a lecture from any of these people at this point. Whether you're a bishop, whether you're a house rep, whether you're a mayor, my side over here won an election. There is a clear mandate from the American people. Despite all odds, again, you had all of Hollywood, all legacy media, all print media, every single sports ball player, everybody, and you still lost. You lost all the swing states. Every single county in this country moved right. You fucking lost. Don't lecture us.
I'm just looking up the one thing that the bishop pointed out there. The bishop pointed out was all the undocumented workers, illegal immigrants, that are in the fields working in California. So it's interesting. Apparently about 80% of them are here in California, okay? And that they represent about a third of farm workers. Now, first of all, there's 2/3 of farm workers that are citizens, right? And I'm wondering if they have an opinion about this. No one's ever asked them, right? I mean, I've never heard the citizen. They are not. When the bishop characterized illegal immigrants as the people working in our fields, they're a segment. They're a piece of what works in our fields in a sanctuary state where they were encouraged to come up here and take these jobs. I'm wondering if other people have feelings about that. That's all. I don't know. Does anybody feel that those jobs were taken from them? I mean, 2/3 of the farm workers are citizens. Did their sons or daughters not get the jobs because illegal immigrants, or do they? And of course, you're not allowed to ask in this state who is here legal or not, so they might not even know. So I worry about the characterization of the poor, suffering farm worker. I just would like to know more about that. It's never really investigated. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, everybody's poor and suffering in this economy over here. I don't want. I like getting a lecture from a bishop about all these poor migrants. First of all, the migrants are fine. You're trying to confuse people, but there's a difference between migrants and illegal aliens. And I think Jesus would probably have a problem with individuals being manipulated for their labor, or you're importing cheap labor. If you're over here as an illegal alien and you're working in one of these farms, it's because you're cheap labor and you're being exploited. And that was never brought up.
Salty, is it? No, of course, there's that. Although I don't know if that's happening because nobody investigates this. Really, what is actually going on in the farmlands here in California? But the immigrants that people are concerned about are not the people working the farms. They're the people that we are supporting in hotels and apartments throughout urban centers. That illegally, they're here illegally. That seems to me to be the group that people are actually focused on, particularly those that, as you said, are committing a second and third crime above and beyond coming into the country illegally.
Yeah. Well, so you're starting to see this today. They started deporting people immediately 3 days ago, and we're now getting ICE. Listen, the Department of ICE, you need to put streaming cameras on your officers and get a Rumble page, and we won't have to pay taxes. You guys can just generate your own revenue. And they're arresting, these are criminals, right? So they got this dude, they're throwing, he's an illegal alien Haitian. They're throwing him into the back and he's screaming, F you, Trump, F you, F you. And the voiceover's like, he's been here illegally. And I can't remember which one it says, so allegedly raped somebody or allegedly murdered somebody, but he's committed a very serious crime. And then the clip, it's a Fox News clip, it goes on. They're arresting all of these dudes. They have all been caught robbing, committing violent crimes, and these places release them, the sanctuary cities catch them as violent criminals who are here illegally and then re-release them. They ignore the ICE detainer. These are the people that are being kicked out right now. And Elon Omar, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, those ugly chicks on The View are all screaming, oh my God, leave my poor migrants alone. These people, all of them, are aiding and abetting illegal alien violent criminals at our peril. These are all rich people who live in the hills. We are the ones who are going to pay the prices. Those of us who are not behind gated communities, those of us who don't have private security, their virtue signaling, their woke-onomics, their woke policies are getting people killed. And again, this is how Donald Trump won a rigged election against him. Normal people are watching this and they're cheering it. So you guys keep being mad that we're deporting people. Marco Rubio went on Face the Nation with that other ugly chick and said, yeah, we're going to deport people. She goes, you're going to deport people? It's like so many people. You're going to deport them? You're going to use the military? He goes, yeah, we're going to use the military to deport them. Because she thinks that the main populace of this country is on her side because she's stupid. No, the average American doesn't want illegal alien criminals in their country. And these people are operating off of social media where people are virtue signaling. Now, behind closed doors, even in the most lefty of places, I imagine, nobody wants to be brutalized by an illegal alien Venezuelan eating a dog.
Are you familiar with Rob Henderson's sort of a concept of luxury beliefs? That the people that have these beliefs are always elite, moneyed, separate, aren't living in or never lived amongst or never came from these groups that they claim to be representing.
Well, did you see Julia Roberts the other day? So she was lamenting the fact that people were, and again, atrocious human beings. They were burglarizing, burned down houses in the Palisades. And then you go look at her social media history, and she's like, "Oh my God, I love BLM. It's totally fine that they're rioting. It's totally fine that they're looting a Target. It's totally fine that they're doing it because they're doing it for civil rights. Don't be a racist.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of normalizing of criminality has now hit your neighborhood, and now she's upset. Now she wants these people arrested. Now she doesn't like looting. Now she doesn't like people being burglarized.
Remember what they were saying during BLM? They were saying, "Well, it's just property. It's just money. It's just property. They're insured." It's like, okay, well, now it's just your property. Is that okay? They didn't kill you. They didn't hurt you. They just came after your property. Is that all right with you? Any thoughts on this birthright citizenship situation?
Just that it's ridiculous to me that anybody who is remotely sane could look at this and say, we've got borders, and before you guys destroyed everything, we had border enforcement, and it used to be illegal to break into a place. But then at the same time say, by the way, if you break into this place, we'll give you the high prize of citizenship. That nobody is creating a country like that. To positively reinforce people to break your laws is something that's stupid. And so the Supreme Court of 1878 or wherever that they're using right now,
the 14th Amendment,
clearly misinterpreted. The amendment is not saying, hey, don't break in. The country's got rules about breaking into it, but break into it and we'll give you citizenship. That's insane. You have to be an insane person to believe that.
Yeah. So do you think this is going to go to the Supreme Court for them to reinterpret it?
Yeah, I think it will. Yeah, so they've already sued. So he did an executive order. They've already sued to stop it. It will go through the process. It will make it to the Supreme Court, and then when it gets to the Supreme Court, I'm hoping that there's sanity up there, but boy, we got a real mixed bag up there, and I wouldn't be surprised. I would be shocked if they said, "No, listen, you can't break into this place." I'd be shocked with that.
If you'd be shocked if it was pure rationality.
Yeah, I would. I think that those people are under a tremendous amount of threat. And I'm not talking about from just normal people being upset with them. I'm talking about Justice Scalia died of a heart attack at a ranch with a pillow over his face. And I'm sitting there going, seems like a message being sent. Maybe I'm watching too many Godfather movies, but I imagine you've got such a concentration of power amongst such a small group of humans. It's not logical for me to think that wouldn't be a vector of attack for a larger group of bad people. And so the immigration invasion of Western civilization is clearly a larger plan. And if you get rid of birthright citizenship and if you lock up the border, I think people of multinational places are going to be very upset with that. And I think pressure will be put on 9 individuals. You don't have to pressure 9 of them. You only got to pressure like 2 of them.
So what I've been railing on is the delusionality, the lack of common sense that creates. But at the same time, I think the one thing that has swept in the last few weeks has been what I would call a more common sense, an awareness of our need for common sense, even if it pertains to having fire hydrants that produce water. We need common sense. We need governance. And so common sense is coming back. That's the one thing I'm very optimistic about. But as we wrap up, do you have predictions? Is that common sense going to hold? Is it going to create a well-being for the people of this country? Are we heading in a good direction, or is there going to be more up and back and God knows what kind of landmines ahead?
Yeah, I think we're in for a hell of a 4 years, because the biggest thing that Trump's opposition has tried to do is keep people away from him, keep people schism from him. If you support Trump, you're painted, again, they're painting Elon Musk as a Nazi now. And so Donald Trump is making headways with normal people. And I think you're seeing a big chunk of Generation Z deviating from what their parents told them about Donald Trump. Now, as he's doing that, and ratcheting back some of these things that seem like a more global agenda. I hate to even say it because I don't want to be investigated by the Secret Service. I don't want this at all remotely misinterpreted. But if you had assassination attempts on you while you were running for president, and nobody at the FBI was fired, nobody at the Secret Service was fired, nobody was held accountable for this, then I imagine that you'll probably get more of those moving forward. So I pray for Donald Trump. I pray for his life and his family out there. But I also imagine that when you've got nothing left to lose and you're painted into a corner, you've got a very dangerous adversary, and these people ain't got a problem blowing up countries. So let's hope that. Listen, I would love some smooth sailing, but I expect violence, to be honest with you.
Well, it'll be interesting when FBI gets a new leader, when the intelligence community gets a new leader, when the Department of Justice gets a new leader, all of whom are, I like all of them, whether it's Tulsi or, they're going to be a very interesting group. It's funny, I just did a TMZ, speaking of appointees, TMZ just interviewed me. They were not making a political point. They were being very careful not to, but they were pointing out that now the Senate is making a big deal about Peter Hegseth and his relationship with alcohol. So I want to state it here too, that look, he may have the genetics for alcoholism. He's not an alcoholic. Those are two different things. And yes, he should end his relationship with alcohol if he be appointed, because if he does have that genetic potential, it could progress. And if the Senate needs him to also have an alcohol counselor or something, or psychiatrist, whatever, great, have that also. But I'm going to tell you something. People with the genetics for alcoholism make the best fighter pilots, the best extreme athletes, the greatest warriors. They are exceptional survivors. They are rich with intelligence and creativity. If you start sidelining people with that genetics, you're going to miss out on some of the best people. Just consider Ulysses Grant. He's, a classic example of severe alcoholic who was a wonderful president. And there are many others. I don't want to out people, but I am aware there are many others that were alcoholic, and some had some pretty big relapses in the White House. You never knew about it. They did a good job. Let's let the guy with nobody with brain disorder should be excluded from leadership positions unless they're really sick, in my humble opinion. So that's my public service announcement for the moment. Any thoughts, Salty?
I want candidates that cause the most ruckus from the people who've been trying to ruin our life lately. So if Rashida Tlaib and AOC and Chuck Schumer and Adam Schiff and MSNBC, if all of you guys hate Pete Hegseth, then that's good enough for me at this point. I hate to put it so simply. I know that could be very dangerous, but he's upset all the right people as far as I'm concerned. That's a good quality from my perspective.
So as Alex Jones says, when you fly into the target, the flak increases. That lets you know you're over the target. He told me that one time. I thought it was hysterical. And Caleb, what do you is that something that's breaking news there? You just put up on the screen?
Yeah, it was just
we're
breaking.
Release more.
Trump signed an executive order to release the JFK, RFK, and MLK assassination files. I believe he's given them, I think it's 6 days to figure it out and 45 days to get it all released. Now, people have said this before, so that's what it says in the report. It's what his order said. But I think people have tried this before, and the CIA always strangely comes up with a new excuse to overrule the actual sitting president. So
let's get Tulsi in there as fast as possible so she can keep a lid on that. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I feel for her taking up that position. It's going to be wild, I suspect. All right. So, any other predictions before I wrap this up, Mr. Cracker?
No. I'm praying for the best, preparing for the worst.
All right. In the meantime, we'll just react. It's a reaction drill. Appreciate you being here as always. Let me quickly check on this rants and see if there's anybody has any questions or anything. Hold on. They're saying Pelosi needs the alcohol counseling. What about Miss Vice President Harris? She could look a little suspicious at times. I don't.
Now that on a different topic, but now that the election is over, what do you think those drones were?
I don't know. It seemed like a great way to whip up a lot of people into fear. The New Jersey, one of those mayors acknowledged that a container of medical waste that was radioactive was missing, so they might have been sniffing for that. But who knows?
Well, Trump did say that he knew what it was and that the administration was keeping it quiet for reasons he didn't understand. So let's see if, in addition to the JFK files, he also releases the information on what those drones were. Let's get that. I suspect he will. All right, listen, we appreciate you being here. It's all Salty Cracker and Salty Cracker 9 on X, saltmustflow.com, Salty Cracker on Rumble. It's always a privilege to talk to you. Say hi to your wife for us. We appreciate her setting this all up and giving us your time.
Great. Again, it's an honor to be here. Everybody, thank you so much.
See you soon. And we'll look at the upcoming guests. By the way, we have some guests that are not on the schedule. We have Aya May, Australian pop star known for Carmageddon. And we have Dana Loesch, Second Amendment for Beginners. And then we have Peter McCullough coming up on the 30th. Like young comedian Beatrice Rosen, a French and American actress who has been very vocal in France. I picked her up on French radio and I thought, oh, she'd be interesting to talk to. And the LA Times owner, Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, he is a decorated or well-known transplant surgeon who ended up taking over the LA Times and has been reconsidering some of the decisions he has made. It'd be very interesting. I think he's actually going to come in studio here with us.
That's what I'm very, very, very excited for that one. He's going to be very interesting.
I'm going to tell you, I have 3 basic themes. A, great to talk to a peer. I'm aware of his decorated past as a surgeon. B, I stopped reading your paper when they started writing articles about me because I realized they're all lying sacks of shit, and it is no exception, and I will complain about a few people by name. And then C, is he aware of how distorted things are, and is he reconsidering, the sort of how he's running the paper, given his unwillingness to his enthusiasm for Karen Bass, and now reconsidering that? Those are my basic themes going ahead, and we'll see what he has to say about that. I'm actually very interested. Do you have other questions for him, Caleb?
A bunch, but I think from what I've read about him and his recent stuff that he's been doing, that you'll be very pleased. I think that you'll like some of the stuff he's been saying. It
would be weird that if he's a very rational guy, and it'd be weird if he went too far in one direction, that he wouldn't have sort of a just course, and maybe he's one of these people that will apologize. It'd be very interesting. All right. So this is what we are here Thursday. We are going to go down and see our granddaughter tonight, and then we're going to be going to New York, where we will be broadcasting from all next week. The next time we see you all, I believe, is it Thursday when we bring Dr. McCullough in? I think that's right, because we are going to be very, very busy in New York next week, it turns out. So we appreciate your patience with our schedule here in January. And we have a huge backlog of great guests for February that as soon as Emily Barsh schedules up, I will let you know. We're holding those cards close to our chest for the moment, but some really interesting guests coming up. So until next Thursday, we appreciate you all being here, and we will see you then. Ask Dr. Drew is produced by Caleb Nation and Susan Pinsky. As a reminder, the discussions here are not a substitute for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment. This show is intended for educational and informational purposes only. I am a licensed physician, but I am not a replacement for your personal doctor, and I am not practicing medicine here. Always remember that our understanding of medicine and science is constantly evolving. Though my opinion is based on the information that is available to me today, some of the contents of this show could be outdated in the future. Be sure to check with trusted resources in case any of the information has been updated since this was published. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, don't call me, call 911. If you're feeling hopeless or suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. You can find more of my recommended organizations and helpful resources at drdrew.com/help.